All right. So quick review. You do not need to write this down because it's what we've been talking about all week. But we know that in similar figures are going to have congruent corresponding angles. And then we know that the corresponding sides are always going to be proportional. So I kind of talked about this the other day, but you can always set up a proportionality statement that shows that all the corresponding sides, so what's the corresponding side for BA or AB? YX. So you always got to match up corresponding sides, right? So AB over YX is going to be equal to BC over YZ is going to be equal to AC over XZ, which is exactly what we noticed here, right? All those three corresponding pairs of corresponding sides, when you divide them, when you get the ratio, they all end up being the same, 2, 2, and 2. Now, don't forget, however, that the angles remain congruent. So angles don't get larger, angles stay the same. So with that in mind, today we're going to be working on problems where we have to find the missing values. So a lot of algebra today. And this is very similar to, I see Perla smiling, it's very similar to what is on your Khan Academy assignment. Okay, so if you were having confusion about the assignment, it should clear it up today. So here's one, this is kind of a very simple example, but here are my two triangles. Now, some things are filled in and some things are not. I see angle measurements. Based on the angle measurements, what can I fill in on triangle ABC? Just the angle.
74.
Right, that's going to be 74 because we know the angles are congruent. And then on triangle DEF, what's the missing angle?
68.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You mean 6'9"?
68. So now that I have the three angles, that helps you to see which sides are corresponding. So for example, which one is corresponding to AB?
FE or EF.
EF. So EF is corresponding to AB. And then which one is corresponding to BC? Ed. ED. Exactly. Okay. Well, now that I have that, I can use this relationship that I already know is true because I already know these are similar. It tells me that they are similar. Well, it doesn't, but yeah. They're similar. We know because of the angles, but we'll talk a little bit more about that tomorrow. Since all the angles are congruent, we know that these two are similar triangles. So now I can set up a little proportion for myself. Remember, if you go with, the very first thing is to decide, do you want to do small over big or big over small? It doesn't matter. But what do you guys want? Do you want to do smaller over big or do you want to do big over small?
Whichever one is easier.
Big over small? Okay. So we're going with big over small. And the reason I say this is important is because if you do big over small the first time, you got to make sure you do big over small the second time. So what does that mean? I'm going to go ahead and look at my blue sides. So big over small, that's going to be 15 over 6. And I know that that's going to be equal to, again, I have to do big over small, so x over 10. Okay, so there's my little proportion. Always set them equal to each other because we already know that it's going to be equal. So 15 over 6 equals x over 10. There's two possible ways to solve this. Can anyone tell me one way?
Divide.
So what would you divide?
15 and 6.
You would divide 15 over 6, and then what would you do after that?
Divide 10 by 2.5.
So that's where you want to be very careful because you're close. You got 2.5, right?
Yes.
Do you want to divide both sides by 10 or do you want to multiply both sides by 10?
Wait a minute. Multiply.
Multiply, right? Because 10 is in the denominator of that fraction. So to get it out of there, we're going to want to multiply by 10. So what do you get? 10 times 2.5
25.
is 25. That makes a whole lot more sense than if you divided by 10, you would have gotten 0.25. Would that make any sense in this problem? We know it's supposed to be bigger, right? So if you accidentally do the wrong operation, just think, okay, does this number make sense or did I divide instead of multiply? Okay, so I know x is 25, but I'm going to show you guys another way to do this that a lot of people prefer. Hold on, I'm getting a phone call from Mr. St. Rose. Give me one moment. Hello?
What's Brola's phone number? Seven, eight, six. Don't forget it's being recorded.
All right, hello. I did not appreciate Jalen whispering in my ear.
Miss, you heard him trying to expose my phone number again?
I heard everything. And I know that I was on I'm still recording, but since I muted myself, it won't show up on the recording. Anyways, all right, the other way to do proportions, to solve proportions, is called cross multiply. It's actually really easy.
No, I don't like cross multiply.
Oh, it's so easy. You just cross multiply. You just multiply those numbers that I circled. So 10 times 15 is 150. 6 times x is 6x. Now what do I do to both sides?
Divide by 6.
Divide by 6. So 150 divided by 6.
2.5? No, 25.
25.
Wait, I was like, let me
25.
guess.
Yeah. All right, so it's basically that. We're going to do that a couple of times. When you have one missing side, you're just going to set up your proportion, cross multiply, and then solve for x. Not too bad. Do I have any questions so far up to this point? Okay, let's make it a little bit harder. It's a little bit harder, but same rules apply. Same rules apply. So first thing you want to do is always take a look at your two figures and set up your corresponding sides. So I'm just going to highlight as usual. What's the corresponding side for AB?
PS.
PS. What is the corresponding side for BC?
Sir.
SR.
Sir.
What is the corresponding side for AD?
PQ.
Q.
Q. And then DC?
Quer.
Quer. Okay. That's done. Can I fill in any blanks or can I set up any quick little equations? What can I do?
C.
So C, what about C?
Isn't that night? Wait a minute. It says 95.
Good.
Look it right.
So we know that that's 95 because again, angles are congruent. So I know that angle C is congruent to angle R. So therefore, 4x plus 27 is equal to 95. So I can easily solve for x. Matter of fact, you guys go ahead and do it on your own. Solve for x, see what you get.
Don't use photo math.
No photo math. The only photo math you should use is your brain.
I got 17.
17. So what's this here? 95 minus 27.
68.
4.
68. Uh,
Wow, you're bad at mental
I
math.
did it on the calculator too. I just forgot what I had got.
and you got what, 17? That looks right. 17. So we got x. Now let's think about how to get y. So what do we have? We have 10 and 5. We know 10 and we know 5. We don't know AB and we don't know AD. Okay? But based on the relationships that we talked about, we can set up a proportion. Now I'm going to move this over. Just going to leave this over here in case anyone's still copying that. So I'm not going to put any numbers or letters yet, but do you guys want to do small to big or big to small?
The other way around.
Yeah, small to big to change it up.
Okay, so we'll do small over big. So just keep in mind that's the way we're doing it. So in that case, I need to do 10 over 4y. What am I putting on the right side?
5 over... Wait, would we put the equation as the denominator?
Yeah, 3y minus 5.
Oh.
Yeah, so all I'm doing is I'm just copying down what values I know. 10 over 4y, and then 5 over 3y minus 5. But now I just have a proportion. I know that I can solve this proportion using cross multiplication. So we're, again, even though I have these sort of harder numbers to work with, all we're doing is multiplying the diagonal. So I have 10 times 3y minus 5. And then I have 5 times 4y. Do I have any questions on how I did that part of it? Okay, well, let's do the first step together and then you guys can take it from there. So what do I do first?
Distribute.
Distribute. So I get 30y minus 50 equals 20y. Take it from there, solve it on your own, see what you get, and then we will check the answers.
I got 5.
5. What do we think, guys? Anyone else?
Jalen agrees. And
Emily agrees. Good job, guys. It is 5. Subtracting 30y from both sides. Just do it really quick. You get negative 50 equals negative 10y. Divide by negative 10 on both sides. You get y equals 5. So x equals 17 and y equals 5. Questions on this problem? Cool. So those are the steps. No matter if it's an easier problem like this one or a harder problem, you set up your proportion, you cross multiply, you solve for the variable. That's the 3 steps. So here's another hard one. But again, we have the same strategy. First, let's figure out the corresponding sides. Who is the corresponding side for JK?
VW.
VW, Volkswagen. How about KL?
WX.
WX.
Y and Z.
How about LM?
XY.
Lazy.
MN? Just keep it going.
Zwy.
Y. And JN. Zv. Okay. Anything that I can, I don't know, let's start with the angles. Usually the angles are easier since angles are always going to be congruent. You can just set up a quick little equation. So what equation can I set up for my 2 angle measurements?
Wait, aren't we supposed to do that big to small thing first, or no? Or does it
Yes,
matter?
but that only works for the side lengths, for the measurements of the sides.
Oh, okay.
But when you're doing the angles, remember what is true about each of those corresponding angles?
They're congruent.
They're congruent, exactly. So for example, angle M is congruent to what?
Angle Y.
Angle Y. So that means that 5 times x minus 5 is equal to 4x, since angles remain congruent. So that one's easier because you don't have to do the proportion. So go ahead and solve for x on this problem. Like I said, lots of algebra today. It's good. We got to brush up those skills.
I got 25. Actually, yeah, 25.
25. So we distribute.
G photo, man.
We get 5x minus 25 equals 4x. Subtract 5x on both sides, you get negative 1x. Divide by negative 1 on both sides, yes, you get x equals 25. Questions on that? How we got that? Okay, so angles are taken care of. We got our value for x. Now, Jalen, we're going to do the big to small or small to big. What do you guys want to do in this one? What the heck? Small to what? Why does that keep coming back? What is happening?
It wants to
Stay.
stay in the spotlight.
Okay. What do you want to do? Small to big or big to small? Pick one and go with it.
Small to big.
Okay.
Wait, I have a question.
Sure.
Whatever way you pick, like big to small or small to big, does it like what's that word I'm looking for? Change the difficulty of the equation, just the same thing?
No, it'll keep it pretty much the same because when you cross multiply, it doesn't matter which one, like it doesn't matter in which order it was. You'll still get the same equation. So actually, let me explain that a little bit better. Let's just do the problem this way, and then you'll see how it's the same. So small to big, that would be 1. So zy over mn. And then VW over jk, right? So 1 over 1.5, and then 4 over 2y minus 8. So that's the equation we get. Well, that's the proportion we get. When I cross multiply, I get 1 times 2y minus 8, and then 4 times 1.5.
Miss, it doesn't matter which equation you put first, right?
Nope, doesn't matter since it's multiplication. Now that's when I do small over big. Now you don't have to copy this part down, but let's just look at what happens the other way around. If you decided to do it the other way around, you would have done 1.5 over 1, and then 2y minus 8 over 4. But when you cross multiply, you still would have 1.5 times 4, and then 1 times 2y minus 8. It's just that they end up on the opposite side, but it's the same exact numbers, it's the same exact equation, it's just one way versus the other. Okay? The most important thing is that if you choose to do small over big, you do that both times. Because that's the only issue is if you do small over big and then big over small, it'll be wrong. So anyways, this gets us 2y minus 8 equals, what's 4 times 1.5?
6.
6. Solve for y real quick. What do we get? Plus 8 equals 14. Divide by 2. Y equals 7. How do we feel about this? Any questions? Any questions at all?
It would be harder, but it's actually pretty easy.
Yeah, it's really not too bad. The hardest part is, sometimes they'll give you problems that look hard. You just have to stay organized, make sure that you're setting up the right numbers in your equation, and be careful when you're solving. Okay. So here's one that comes up actually a lot. So you'll probably see this on Khan Academy a lot of times because instead of having two separate shapes like you had over here, what's going on here?
They're both in the same one.
They're both in the same, right? It's kind of like, in this case, what would be the point of dilation?
Point B?
Mm-hmm.
Miss, I saw this on Khan Academy and I just saw that they had a line like a random line and I was very confused.
What do you mean a random line?
Like it had that line right, but I hadn't read it right. I didn't read the directions, so I didn't know it was two separate triangles. So I just thought it was just a random line in between the triangle.
Okay, you thought they just drew a random line. No, see, that's the thing is that we actually have two different triangles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to separate them and just draw them separate. So I have DBE, and then I've got my big triangle. Do that better. ABC. Okay, now let's fill in what we know about the red triangle. What do we know?
We know that DB is equal to 4.
Mm-hmm.
Is that all we know?
Well, what are they labeling as BE?
X.
That's my X. Okay, now take a look at the the black triangle. What do I know? How long is AB?
22.
Good. How'd you get that?
18 plus 4.
18 plus 4. So this one's 22. So that's where you got to be careful. What about BC?
$22 plus blank.
22 plus
Blank.
not blank.
Oh, wait, X.
X. Yeah. 22 plus X. Exactly. So now I have my values. Now I can go ahead and set up my proportion. Let's do big over small this time. Big over small. Someone tell me what to write in my proportion.
18/4.
18.
Oh, yeah, wait. Oh, never mind. 22. I'm dumb.
22 over 4.
Equals 22 plus X over X.
Good. Exactly. Okay. So now let's go ahead and cross multiply. So on the left side, what do I have?
22X
Mm-hmm.
equals 4 times 22 plus X.
Perfect. Let's distribute and then solve. 4 times 22.
88.
4 times X.
4X.
Go ahead, take it from there and see what you get for X.
I got 4.888.
4 point what?
88.
8, 8. And that sounds correct to me. So when I subtract 4 from both sides, I got 18x equals 88. Divide both sides by 18. 88 divided by 18, you said you got 4.88. What does that round to?
4.9.
4.9. Good. C is our answer. All right, so this one's definitely takes it up a kind of a notch. Do I have any questions on how to do this type of problem?
It actually makes a lot of sense now.
Mm-hmm. Any questions at all? All right, cool. So go ahead and try this one now. I want you guys to at least start it on your own, see how much you can do. Now here we have an X and we have a Y. So it is going to be a little bit trickier, but I just want you guys to play around with it. See what you get, see what you come up with. Take 5 minutes to sort of explore it a little bit, and then we'll come back together and do it together.
Miss, what is B labeling? The whole line segment or the angle?
B is just this point.
Oh. Okay.
Couple of minutes left, 2 minutes left. Okay, we got 6 seconds left, so it's about to end. Now, again, it's okay if you didn't get any answers, but I just wanted you guys to look at it, try it on your own, and see if you could come up with the right proportion or the right equation. So let's start with the angle measurements. Angles. What equation can I set up for those angles?
I was stumped, but I think I did something good
Okay,
that might be right.
okay.
So I did 3x plus 14 plus 50 is equal to 180.
Ooh, interesting. Okay. So that's why would okay. It's not what I did. Why did you do that?
Honestly, I was stumped, but
Mm-hmm.
then I remembered that we learned about, I think it was the adjacent angles, that the outer angle plus its nearest inner angle was going to equal 180. So
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of what I did, and then I just looked at the line and it looked like a straight line. So I was
Okay,
like, that
so
makes sense.
question. The 50 degrees, did you assign that to angle C or to angle B?
Oh, you got me there.
Okay.
I assigned
It
it
was
to
a little
angle
hard.
C.
It's okay. It's a little hard to
Yeah.
see, but the 50 goes with the C and the 3x plus 14 goes with B. So What do we know about corresponding angles of similar figures?
They are congruent.
They're congruent.
Oh, I'm dumb.
No, it's okay. They're congruent, which means angle, let me name it, the full name, angle ABE. So angle AB is congruent to what?
ACD.
ACD. Exactly. So now let me fill in the blanks. 3x plus 14 is equal to 50. They're not supplementary, they're actually just congruent to each other. So it's a little bit easier than what you did. Now what do I get? Subtract 14,
I got 12.
get 36, divide by 3, you get x equals 12, exactly. All right, questions on the angles. We haven't done the sides yet, just the angles. Okay. So now let's talk about the side lengths. So I'm just gonna leave this off to the side if it wants to stay. We'll see. Nope. I don't know why it does that. I just want you to stay right here. Can you stay? Okay. There you go. All right. Now let's talk about the side lengths. So I'm going to color code it a little bit. I've got DC. What's the congruent or what's the corresponding side?
EB.
BE. Then I have AD, AE. AE, what's the corresponding side?
AD.
AD. Exactly. All right, so let's do small over big. Starting with green. With the green sides, that's going to be 4 over 5. Now, who can tell me what's the blue side's going to be? Small over big.
5.6 over 5.6 plus y.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was like, I knew I had to add the 5.6 plus y, but then I didn't know what to do with that.
Okay. Pausing here. Did anybody have this set up the way I did? Did anyone have the proportion correct? Okay, nobody did. Which, guys, if you have questions, you got to ask those questions because we did a pretty much exactly the same type of problem before. So, okay, Emily, you had big over small, but you had the right numbers. That's good. So make sure, this is what I keep saying, if you don't ask questions, you're not going to know how to do it when it comes time to do it on your own. So it's very important that you're making sure you know how to do it before it's time to do it by yourself. Okay, now I can take these, cross multiply. What do I get on the left side?
4 times 5.6 plus y.
Oh, Jalen, I didn't see your thumb. I'm sorry. I wasn't looking. Were you? I'm not looking at your cameras right now. Okay. And then I just go ahead and I'm going to multiply. 4 times 5.6.
I think it's 22.4. I did that in my head. Let me see if it's right.
Okay,
Yay! It's right.
good. 5 times 5.6.
Let me check.
Yeah, it is. 28.
Yay, quick maths. Oh no, my hair.
Subtract 22.4. Yeah, 5.6. 5.6. Divide by 4. What do I get? I get 1.4. All right, so questions again. This is your chance. Is there any part of this that doesn't make sense to you? Is there any part of this where you're not sure how to do it? Ask it now. Good. Okay. All right, so let me think for a second because you guys are missing a lot of classmates today, so I don't want to do too much without them. Let's do 2 more, and then after that, you guys can end a little bit early and work on your homework. All right? If you're done with your homework, then you're done. So that's good.
Can we stay on?
While you work on your homework, yeah.
Yay.
Okay. So here we go. The point 3 comma negative 2 is rotated 90 degrees about the origin and then dilated by a scale factor of 4. What are the coordinates of the resulting image? Okay. Rotation, dilation. Remember what I said, the rules for transformations, I know we learned them back in the day. They're making a comeback. If you don't have them memorized at this time, like if you've forgotten them a little bit, please review them, especially over the weekend, okay? So rotation and reflection, most important, make sure you memorize those. So I know that I'm doing 2 transformations, right? First is going to be 90 degrees rotation. They don't tell you what direction, but when they don't say the direction, what are we going to assume?
That it is. I don't know. Is it clockwise? No, counterclockwise. Oh.
Counterclockwise.
Yeah, cause that's the normal way we expect it to go, right?
Mm-hmm.
Unless they say, oh, clockwise, then we're gonna
Exactly.
say it's 270 counterclockwise.
Exactly. And who can remind me, what is the rule for 90-degree counterclockwise rotation?
Isn't that negative x comma positive y? I'm not sure.
You're very close.
Or is it the other way around?
I want to see if anyone remembers.
I don't remember, but I just saw it, so.
What is it?
It's negative y comma x.
Negative y comma x. So remember that with rotations, they switch places. So x becomes y and y becomes x. And then depending on what type of rotation, one of those is going to be negative. So first you have that, and then you have dilation by a scale factor of 4. So k equals 4. So am I multiplying by 4 or dividing by 4?
Multiplying.
Multiplying. Okay. So let's go ahead and apply those 2 transformations. So I start with 3 comma negative 2. What does that become?
2 comma 3.
2 comma 3. Multiplying everything times 4. What's my final answer?
8 comma 12.
Good. He beat you to it.
Wow, Jalen. Yeah, and I had the wrong thing because I said 8x.
Oops. 8 comma 12. And that's it. This type of question at this point, as long as you have those rules memorized, this is super, super easy. It's just a matter of remembering all those rules again, rememorizing them if you don't have them in your head. And see how easy that was? That's a piece of cake. That should not be difficult. But if you don't have them memorized, that's where we have an issue. So any questions? Cool. All right, this is the last one we're going to do. Triangle LMN is similar to triangle PQR. Which of the following sets of side lengths could be those of triangle LMN? Okay, well, I always, with these types of questions, I like to draw it out personally, just because it helps me to visualize it. So if triangle LMN is similar, let's just look at each option. So I'm gonna assume that those side measurements, so 2, 3, and 4, they're gonna correspond to since they're from smallest to biggest, which one is the smallest side?
For which triangle? The new one.
LMN.
You just said it. LM.
Okay, so that's the smallest one, so this is 2. Which one's the longest side length?
Our hypotenuse.
The hypotenuse,
MN.
MN. So that one's 4, and then that would mean this one's 3. Would that make any sense? Does it have proportional ratios? So if you're not sure how to do that, let's take a look. Let's do small over big. If I do small over big, that would mean that 2 over 3 has to be equal to 3 over 4, which has to be equal to 4 over 5. Is that true?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once I caught a fish alive. That is not true.
6, 7, 8, 9. Then I let it die.
Oh God.
Then actually it bit my finger, so.
So guys, let me know, are these fractions equal to each other?
No.
No, right? 2/3 is not equal to 3/4. 3/4 is not equal to 4/5. So these are not similar. So that would mean that for answer choice A, that makes no sense. That is out. Now let's look at answer choice B. Where's the 6 going?
At the bottom, so it's 3 over 6. I mean, no, wait. Yeah. We're doing small over big.
Mm-hmm. So 3 over 6 would have to be equal to 5 over 8 and then 4 over 7. You can use a calculator. You can check. Are these equal to one another?
No, they're not.
Can I guess what the answer is?
Okay.
I want to guess it's D.
You think it's D? Let's check.
Yes, because all numbers have a.
Okay. So that would be 9, 12, 15. So that would be 3 over 9, 5 over 15, and 4 over 12. That is a scale factor of 3, yeah, because all of these fractions simplify to 1/3. So this is the only one that has proportional side lengths. All the rest of them do not. How do we feel about this one? Questions on this one?
This one was easier.
Yeah, not too bad. All right, perfect. So it is 2:03. I would like you guys to go ahead and now switch over to Khan Academy. Those 2 assignments are due Friday. So go ahead and spend the rest of this time working on those assignments. You guys can stay on here. I will stop the recording.